Tonight on the program, our focus is on a development that has stirred strong reactions across Nigeria. The United States airstrikes in parts of Nigeria's northwest and probably in the north central late Thursday on Christmas Day, with residents of Tangaza and Tambol local government area of Sokoto state reported drone attacks on their communities. In Ofa, in Kwara state, explosions damaged properties and heightened security fears, coming just hours after the United States announced airstrikes against ISIS-linked targets in Nigeria's northwest. The federal government says the operation was carried out jointly with Nigeria's security forces. Still, the strikes have reopened a sensitive debate around national sovereignty, foreign military presence, and the limits of international support in addressing Nigeria's long-running security crisis. So the big question tonight is, can Nigeria rely on foreign military support to end decades of killings and kidnappings, or does such intervention create new risks going forward? We'll break down all of these points in a moment or so, but first let's bring you up to speed with the day's latest political developments.
The federal government says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved the United States airstrikes targeting terrorist camps in Nigeria's northwest. Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuga confirmed this on Friday, hours after the U.S. Department of War and President Donald Trump announced the operation. Nigeria's military high command also says it was aware of and involved in the U.S. airstrikes carried out in part of Sokoto state on Thursday night. However, Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi has criticized the airstrikes, warning they could fuel division and weaken Nigeria's sovereignty. The Tanimu Turaki-led faction of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has criticized the federal government for failing to inform Nigerians about the U.S. airstrikes before the announcement by President Donald Trump. PDP spokesperson Ini Ememobong says Nigerians deserve to hear about such a sensitive security operation from their own government first, describing the communication gap as troubling and unacceptable. The Northern Christian Association of Nigeria has called for a full and transparent probe into those funding terrorism across the country. In a Christmas message signed by its chairman, Reverend Joseph John Hayab, the group warned that insecurity will persist unless sponsors and financiers of terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping are exposed and punished, stressing that justice is key to national renewal. The National Assembly has ordered the regazetting of the 4 major tax reform laws amid controversy over alleged alterations after passage. Parliament says the move is administrative and aimed at safeguarding legislative integrity. The clerk to the National Assembly has been directed to regazette the laws and issue certified true copies of the versions passed by both chambers, following public concerns over discrepancies in the official gazette.
Right, some of the day's biggest political stories there in a recap for you. Now let's get back to our main conversation. The one story that everybody seems to be talking about way above the tax law saga, which is continuing to unravel. It is about Nigeria's insecurity and the involvement of the Americans, which has dominated the headlines over the last couple of weeks, if not months, since Donald Trump's bombastic post about Nigeria's growing insecurity and how the Americans are going to step in, especially with those claims about Christian genocide. So we saw all of that in action on Christmas Day, especially from the Americans first, when President Donald Trump, in his message, informed the world about their airstrikes in the northwest killing terrorists. And that has been corroborated with some of the images and reporting on attacks in parts of Sokoto, as well as the reported fallouts in Kwara State. So we're going to get into all of this, what it means for Nigeria's national security, what it means for Nigeria's collaborative operations with the United States, and what it means for Nigerians as a people. Joining me tonight for the conversation is Engineer Nurudeeen Hammanyaro, a security and political commentator, to help us unpack the security, political and strategic implications of the U.S. airstrikes on Nigeria's soils. Engineer, thank you very much for joining us on the program. It's good to see you this evening. Everybody seems to have an opinion or two about what is playing out. What, in your perspective, is the best way to unpack what we're seeing right now?
First of all, compliments of the season to you guys here in the Trust TV, and then to fellow Nigerians. This is a worrying situation, particularly at this time that the country is undergoing what on my own I call healing, because already if you look at it was very much heated, an issue that came up when the country was labeled a country of particular concern. You know, it disturbs every one of us, and we felt the solution. We started seeing some kind of inter-religious, inter-cultural kind of, coming together to see how can we address our differences so that Nigeria can be one and we all enjoy it. Now, looking at that, the President Trump, happy Christmas to the Nigerian Christians, which I call an insult, not happy Christmas, is what I think I should talk about this night with you and with Nigerians. Mr. Talba, when you are, there's what we call an impact assessment. Because to me, if you leave me tonight, except if between this hour and the next hour, there is something that comes up with details. With details to really convince me that this attack was necessary and this is the result. Because for every operation, there has to be an impact assessment. Now, if the American government claims this attack is on ISIS, I think Nigerians should first of all ask the question, have we ever heard of ISIS or anything ISIS related in the northwestern Nigeria? All along, what we keep hearing from time immemorial is banditry and of recent the Lakurawas that operates within that region.
Isn't there a possibility that the Lakurawas are ISIS linked? If
they are ISIS linked, then that can be considered. But at the moment, we've never heard of any link between the Lakurawas and the ISIS, up till the day America had their attack. And from the images that are obtainable so far, be it on the media or from what even be it the mainstream or the social media, the images you see is, I have not seen details of how many of the terrorists were killed in that action. I have not seen the wounded in action. I have not seen the ones that ran away. And some of the details the American government should have provided Nigeria is, we have seen footages of some terrorist-linked organizations who are planning to carry out attack on, let's say, XYZ community that are Christian-dominated, or on a particular church around the Sokoto axis. And this attack is supposed to hold certainly on the Christmas day. If there are any form of intelligence from the American government to the Nigerian government with respect to this, then you know there is a base. There are bases for this attack to counter this, arrangement from the bandit, and to let them know what he has promised to do. This is the beginning. But from the American government, President Trump has warned that he is not going to make life comfortable for those that have been killing Christians in the northwestern Nigeria. And the next thing, we saw an attack on, till now, is on empty farmlands. I have not seen one dead body. And I'm waiting for the Nigerian government really to be fair to Nigerians, so that this issue of carrying out a sentiment, that will seek to, thicken the division that we are already experiencing and is hurting us economically and otherwise. Until we see that Nigerian government comes out with a clear information presenting to us that these are the people that were killed. And that being said does not mean the security apparatus in that axis will carry out an unnecessary operation and kill innocent people to present them. But because so far, impact assessment, we are now getting to 48 hours. Impact assessment, we have DSS in that axis, we have the police, and it can be a joint operation with the army.
There's been a reporting on the BBC about what had happened in Tangaza, because much of what we're seeing online has been developments in Jabo community, where our own reporting has also been covered. And we understand that, albeit a relatively safer zone compared to other axes in the northwest, especially in Sokoto state, there have been limited banditry activities.
Exactly.
But, however, in Tangaza, according to what we're hearing, some of the reporting done by the BBC, yes, some terrorist hideouts or bases have been part of the casualties, or at least part of the areas that have been hit.
No problem. If that is the case, Nigerians, I think it is our right as Nigerians. Let the details of this attack be presented to Nigerians, because it will provide some sort of relief. If you are a Christian and this issue that has been running around your head, that you are being persecuted because of your religion, and today Trump has come to carry out an attack to save you, and these are the people that were killed, and it can be justified that they are terrorists, then you have some sort of relief. For some of us Muslims who have also been condemning this same act by people who we claim are not Islamic, we will also find some relief. So I think the federal government should first of all come with a clear information to present details to Nigerians. That's one. Secondly, look at what I call, is it a misrepresentation of priority? Because on the same time, or just hours difference, there is a mosque that was attacked in the northeastern Nigeria. Is the American government particular just about a certain section of the northern Nigeria, or in the entire northern Nigeria, or the entire country, with the aim of providing us support or any form of assistance to stabilize ourselves, security-wise? Because there is an attack in the northeastern Nigeria that claims the life of so many Muslims in their place of worship, on the Christmas Eve. So what happened? How did they miss this intelligence? And they could get intelligence that will allow them attack, an area in Sokoto State. So I really want us to harmonize.
Is a much more high priority.
I'm not saying it's a much more high priority, but what I'm saying in this case is we have places that are, how do I put it to you? We have places that clearly you can say these are red zones. These are red zones. Clearly they are red zones. And in terms of security intelligence gathering, if the American system is trying to help Nigeria to improve in our intelligence information, gathering, I think they should not miss sensitive or this kind of orchestrated attacks that will claim the life of, and it also it's anticipated, because usually bandits, criminals of any kind, as soon festive periods are usually their targets. Be it Salah or Christmas or Easter, so long as people will travel, people will find some places to sit down and talk, these are their soft targets. So now, if the American government wants to help Nigeria, I am thinking that this Christmas period, the entire days, starting from 21st to the 1st of January, the intelligence gathering should be adequate, should be sufficient enough to point out that these are places that we have earmarked are red zones, and likely they will be attacked. And certainly they shouldn't have missed the one in Borno State, as important as the one they carried out in Sokoto State is. So how come did they miss it? And this brings the question, which is personally to me, that is there any motive with the American government? Because now, on several occasions, not only Nurudeeen, a lot of countries have either in one way or the other warned Nigeria or supported Nigeria in a bid to claiming its sovereignty. Not really claiming, again, let me not use the word claiming, but in asserting its authority as a sovereign nation, telling the American government that, look, the persecution you are talking about, we are friends with our Christian brothers. But
you hear the administration is saying there was a handshake. The foreign minister in his appearance on a national television, said he has spoken twice to Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State in the United States, and he had gotten clearance, gotten the go-ahead from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to sanction this operation. And the Americans have corroborated that same narrative. So isn't it safe to say that this was at the behest of the Nigerian administration?
But like, look,
there was
like,
nothing unilateral about the attacks.
I don't look at it unilateral, because look at, like, the PDP government are now rubbing it on us. That how comes it is the US government that first of all announced the attack? That means they have done it possibly without the consent of Nigeria. They felt they have had a lot of information, and from the look of things, those information are scanty, because we know what attacks looks like. I'm sure on your phone now, if you open, whether it is this month or last month or some months ago, you have received informations with pictures and videos of attacks that our own troops had carried on, you know, on the criminals, on the bandits and the terrorists. Right. And we have seen how they have, you know, the success they have recorded. Right. Now, if that cannot be given to Nigerians, then the US government should have itself to explain what attack did they carry on that, okay, on the Sokoto.
And talking about the data, let's just quickly take a look at a snapshot of this year's recorded attacks, operations by Nigeria's Air Force, just this year alone. So from January to August, Operation Hadinke, which is known for its operations across different parts of the northeast, addressing issues around the Boko Haram and ISWAP attacks, has reportedly carried out several operations leading to the death of at least 592 terrorists and the destruction of 372 assets in over the course of 8 months. This was the report that they released. In the northwest, however, in August, Operation Fansanyama, destroyed a large bandit gathering, as well as destroying their camps. In the same August, also in Zamfara, in Saudi Forest, Operation Fansanyama reportedly neutralized a terrorist stronghold. The same story was in September in the northeast with Operation Hadinke. About 25 terrorists neutralized in coordinated strikes throughout the year. In the northwest, for instance, Zamfara, Katsina, Niger, and Kaduna, Operation Fansanyama reportedly struck bandit camps as well as their logistic routes. Interestingly, Engineer Hammanyaro, is the fact that most of these attacks, none of them was reported in Sokoto State. What does that tell you about where Nigerian armed forces have been paying attention to and where this recent strike has hit?
And that's what I'm talking about. So that's why I'm saying I'm also confused, because as much as the presence of Lakurawas and bandits in the Sokoto and Kebbi axis has been there for, let's say, about 2-3 years ago. And this was as a result, from some security experts' analysis, this was as a result of what is happening in the Sahel. There's an influx of people that were dislodged or looking for places to hide. And as a result, they now come into Nigeria, and that because they share border now with Sokoto State with Niger. Now, if the Nigerian government, of course, there are priorities. Whenever the security apparatus will sit down and design how to carry out their operational plans. Mr. Talba, it's just like you in this same station. There are things that you sit down and say, okay, this is of priority. This we can achieve it in a month. This we can achieve it in a week. This we can place it in a year because of the magnitude. So if the activities of Boko Haram, where, it's been killing people irrespective of culture and religion, destroying businesses and places of worship, has been prioritized by the Nigerian government. You just mentioned it, you have seen the success and it's been announced. If the activities of bandits in the Sokoto, in the Zamfara axis, has been something eaten up and Katsina State, and we have seen the success, because I saw even the NSA, just about the same period you are talking about, mention the number of bandits they have killed, from their commanders down to their foot soldiers. This is to tell you the Nigerian government is also on track. However, they have always complained the support they need from their foreign allies. And what are those supports? Technological support, because this is an era where battles are better fought not physically, because you can have a drone that can X-ray an entire area, no matter the size, based on the capacity of that drone, and bring things to you down to images and exact location. So where are those kind of supports? And if American drone can come to Sokoto soil and kill bandits, don't you think we have our own Air Force officers who have been properly trained and in all the other sister services that have been adequately trained in terms of drone operations and management? Are they part of this operation? And if they are part of this operation, how comes till this very moment we have not seen the details I'm talking about, terrorists they have killed in the operation? So it is okay that Nigeria can sit down and plan how to carry out these operations. But remember, coming down to this, we have passed through a lot of crises with the American government that led to finally this attack on Sokoto. One of it is setting our country on panic, which I personally call panic, because I don't like the way we react to whenever the American government, throws some unnecessary allegations on our country. Yes, we have our issues. Every other country have their issue, Mr. Talba. It's not a lie. We have not denied facts that there are terrorist activities or bandit activities, but we have been trying our best to collaborate with you people in terms of modern equipment supply, be it manpower or whatever, but it's not been forthcoming. So if now you really want us to succeed in this, what I expect the American government to do, if truly, because on record, at the wake of the American government in every country, what they leave is damages. Damages on stable economy, unstable political activities, and unstable nation.
Even in a situation like this where the cooperation is somewhat minimal in terms of no boots on the ground, we're talking about using AFRICOM. We understand that they use their carriers in the Gulf to strike at these targets. But more importantly is the fact that what if you have to consider the glass half full version of what is playing out? And that is for people who say, listen, this show of force sends a clear message to bandits. It intimidates them. It is one thing to deal with the Nigerian government and the armed forces of Nigeria, as good as they may be. It's another thing if you have to deal with the Americans, that it could have a placebo effect. Don't you see it that way, that this could send a very good message?
But can the Nigerian government have the plan and lead the operation? Because Nigeria, as far as I know, and to the last minute that I'm in this station, we are not a state in America. We are a sovereign nation, Mr. Talba. About 300 million Nigerians and growing. By the year 2050, we are projected to be over 450, which will surpass even the population of America itself. And with this sovereignty, with the abundance of mineral resources, with the level of IQ Nigerians are having, if there is any form of interest which you cannot detach from these kind of operations, the American government should find a very good way that is diplomatic to resolve it, and it can be a win-win situation. So now, that being said,
but the government says that this is a collaborative effort. It's not the United States acting unilaterally. At least that's what the
It doesn't look like that.
That's what the defense headquarters says.
No problem.
That's what the foreign minister is also saying. So are you saying that they are misleading Nigerians?
I'm not saying they are misleading Nigerians, but look at it this way. Okay, now, if you say the American government has acted, yet I have seen what you are talking about. I saw his conversation where he is saying how much the conversation they had with the Chinese government, the American government, he mentioned the UK, he mentioned a lot of other countries they have discussed with to really bring a stop to this destruction happening in our country. I've seen it, but this is a country we shouldn't be taking for granted. If these plans, this is security for God's sake. And we are not saying every detail of it, because that is why it is called security. We are not saying every detail of the plan should be given to Nigerians on their fingertips. But at least the one that will put the country at ease, like we have signed this deal today with the American government. They are going to give us some high supersonic drones on this. They are going to provide us with 500 personnel. They are going to give us XYZ equipments. And the essence of it is to be deployed 30% in Zamfara state, 60% in Borno state, 20% in this. These are the kind of plans we want to see. We did not ask the Nigerian government to tell us that, okay, we are, these are surface details. We are not asking for in-depth.
Yeah, but there are some who believe that this attack or these airstrikes was an effort to satiate the Trump administration, who has to show, you know, this body language that they are going to walk the talk, because he has talked a tough game about what he's going to do in Nigeria.
So who has he attacked?
Do you understand? Do you understand those who say that this is an effort to placate the Americans, to give them an opportunity to show some force?
I will never succumb to pressure as a Nigerian and as Nurudeeen. I am telling you, until it is clear to me that the American government has attacked terrorists in Sokoto state, so long as it remains attack without details, I have not seen any terrorists killed or wounded or some captured alive that sustained injuries and they could not move. The attack is just a joke. That means it is mere farmlands, and it is even
as far as you know.
As far as I know.
I mean, you don't have all the.
I am waiting for the details, because if you have anything different from what I have, give it to me. If you have any details more than the one I have, I will be so glad to take it from you, and I will change this very opinion I'm having today. But if it is not there, the attack was a joke, and Nigeria should come more than this, because we are a nation. The president has been doing his best, but he should stop panicking over these unnecessary allegations that they are robbing the country into, because there is no persecution of Christians. I said it, I will continue to say it. These people are just trying to mislead us in this country and create, you know, some form of fracas that will continue to destroy us as Nigerians, and we should reject it by every means.
Let's take a quick look at the Trump post on Truth Social, where he informed the world about what played out in northwest Nigeria. He said, quote, "Tonight at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years and even centuries," he says. "I previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, they would be held to pay." And tonight, there was. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorists to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continue. So, keyword there, dead terrorists, which you say we've not recorded yet, of at least we've no a record of.
This is a lie. This is a very big lie.
How does that square with,
honestly,
with the message from the department, from the defense headquarters, as well as the...
I personally felt insulted with this message, because I really hope that my own Christian brothers and sisters in Nigeria will understand that this is not a happy Christmas. This is an outright insult to even their faith as Christianity, because...
But is there a silver lining to this, beyond the rhetoric? Because obviously there is also American politics involved. But beyond the rhetorics, are there some takeaways that you think could be positive? If
genuinely the American government will come, because first of all, like I said, we are not in denial as Nigerians that we have insecurity issues. It is a fact. And it was not born yesterday. It has been with us in this country from our independence in one way or the other. But of recent, it became unbearable. From every corner of the country, the 6 geopolitical zones are having one form of crisis or the other. If the American government have a genuine plan towards Nigeria, honestly speaking, it will never be hidden. You will see it openly, you and me, and even a common Nigerian will see it. Meaning, if they want to do this thing, first of all, there has to be that respect that they are dealing with a sovereign nation. And number 2, it has to be at our own lead. We don't expect an American soldier to come down to our soil and lead an advancement of, either countering or attacking terrorists or any form of criminal organization, because we know our country better than them. All they have is a superior form of, intelligence, equipments, and whatnot to help us in fighting the insecurity. But for them to take over the lead and do what Trump did just a day, 24 hours ago, to me, it's not a welcome idea. And we really have to make sure that this doesn't happen again. There are better ways we can collaborate. Nobody is in denial. They are a super country, the most powerful in the world, the most richest, the most, no problem. I'm not in denial. But you want to deal with Nigeria, we are a sovereign nation. You want to help, and your country, you should stop. That is another part that I also disagree with in totality. This idea that has been, sowed into the minds of our Christian brothers and sisters. This Minister of Defense we are talking about was born in Sokoto State. He knows the persecution we are talking about is not true. There are pockets of Christians that were killed. Since Deborah Yakubu was killed in Sokoto State for the statement she made about Prophet Muhammad, and those Muslims that killed her, so many of us condemned it because they don't have the power to take judgment. Judgment is not theirs, it's of God. So killing her was wrong, the statement she made was wrong, and two wrongs never make a right. Since the killing of Deborah Yakubu, I cannot pinpoint another attack that is purposely targeted, be it to a Christian individual or to a Christian community or to a church.
There are some who would say your argument, albeit in good faith, is pedantic, that it doesn't matter if the terrorists that are being targeted are killing Muslims or Christians, as far as they are the bad eggs that we need to get rid of. But let's hear
which I agree.
Yeah, let's hear from the horse's mouth, at least the traditional ruler in Jabo area where the strikes were made at, where community members even took fragments of the explosive devices that were used in the airstrikes by the United States military in Sokoto State. Let's have a listen to what the district head or the traditional ruler in that community had to say about the concerns as well as the fallout of last night's attacks.
No, actually, we don't have much challenge on security here in Jabo. But the problem that we're having is the neighboring villages because we are bordering with Zamfara. So at times, if there is a movement of this bandit, a lot of people, if they see them, they fear. They run here for this thing, and after a while, they will go back to their villages. But we don't have any challenge on security. We don't have any this thing. It's a normal thing. We are doing our normal life. The only problem is at times if there is movement of the bandit, the villagers used to run to Jabo so that they can have a rescue. Yes. Apart from that, we don't have.
Right, that is the perspective of the traditional leader in Jabo, stating that the security concerns are not necessarily pronounced in the area. However, they're well aware of the dangers that surround their community, leading to bigger questions about the attack being a dummy attack, one that does not necessarily have a lot of results to showcase, as is being made by our guest tonight, Engineer Nurudeeen Hammanyaro. And in talking about the wider effect of this, because there is also the Sahelian states that share similar boundaries with us, Niger Republic case in point. Do you think that regionally speaking, this particular airstrikes, albeit a quote-unquote collaborative one with the Nigerian government, could have impact on regional security?
Of course, we are the biggest nation in Africa in terms of number, in terms of possibly some certain resources too, if you look at it that way, minerally. And we have a lot of things that put us at the edge with our other African partners, be it at regional or continental level. And if Nigeria is not safe, tell me how can a smaller state that ordinarily look up to Nigeria? Niger is like a baby to Nigeria. All these countries, Chad, Burkina Faso, these are our West African sisters. They look up to Nigeria at the beginning, let's say like 50, 60 years ago, when we had our independence brand new and we had capable leadership and we're holding on, to that mantle and demonstrating it. Do you know that? Let me tell you one story. Maybe you will understand the power, or some Nigerians will attest to what I'm trying to tell you. When Angola had its own issue and there was a coup in 1976, when Murtala took over. Do you know that the Western countries threatened relationship ties with every country that sympathized with Angola. But let me tell you what General Murtala did. And that was why he was honored, if you remember, just 2 months ago, him, President Olusegun Obasanjo, and the former chief of staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, that's Gambari, because he was our foreign representative, like our own Minister of Foreign Affairs then. Murtala went to Angola, stood with his brother, an African leader, tell the United States and other foreign allies that this is our African partner. We will not allow you to come and distort peace in this country. And he supported them with money just to stabilize about $17 million. And they never forget till this very moment. That was why 50 years later, they honored him. Now, if Nigeria could take such kind of bold step 50, 60 years ago, what is wrong with us that today somebody will just wake up from the wrong side of his bed? Somebody who has personally held this country to, lockdown for almost 50 days, the highest in their own history, who claim America first but keep destroying them economically, and they are going backward today, who has worsened their ties with other foreign allies, and today their economic second partner is taking over from them, that is China, who has, you cannot call this leader by every dimension and say he is capable as a leader.
But politically speaking, you do understand that this American help is not a suggestion, right? It's going to happen regardless. At least that's the body language.
And that is why I'm going to.
Are you saying that you're disappointed with the Nigerian response?
Of course. As a Nigerian who cares about this country, because we cannot continue to claim or to assert our authority as a sovereign nation and allowing the American government, first of all, they kicked against, they brought about this Christian persecution, set the country to panic. According to some quarters, if it is a conspiracy theory, if it is the actual fact, they were the ones that perfected the removal of the minister of the substitution of the Minister of Defense. These are some of the insinuations people are having outside, saying the American government is dictating now to Nigeria what to do politically. And hopefully, according to some quarters too, that this may finally lead to even the removal of the vice president. So are we tilting towards that we?
You think the Tinubu administration is likely kowtowing to the U.S. government? Is that what is playing out?
Say again?
You think the Tinubu administration is kowtowing to the Trump administration?
Possibly yes, but that is not a good thing. Because if we have provided them fact, now we have ambassadors. And if our ambassadors cannot sit down with the American government, our U.S. ambassador to Nigeria cannot sit down with the ambassador, clear this, this very hard, corridor that is now existing between us on some unnecessary claims that cannot be substantiated. And let them know we are not happy with the way they are handling this country. We are a country. I cannot be a leader and allow you to be telling me what to do in my... Yes, you can support me. And if I'm wrong, there are several ways I can be corrected as a president. But to this extent that you want to have, where is the plan? I need to see the plan that my country and US have sat down and agreed on how to handle terrorism and banditry.
Says 19 minutes on one call. That was how much time he spent with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State of the United States. Is that not enough to suggest that it was collaborative? They had conversations
Mr.
about
Talba,
these strikes before they happened?
Mr. Talba, we are not an island of 2 million people. We are not an island of 200,000 people. We are a sovereign nation of over 300 million people. The northwestern Nigeria population today is growing almost about 200 million. We cannot, I will never accept it that it is the American government that would dictate how we handle our security issues. All I'm saying is help Nigeria because you have the power. I'm not denying that.
You don't consider what happened as help?
I don't consider that help because I have not seen the terrorists that they killed. And that is why I said it is even an insult to my Christian friends because this is not a happy Christmas. Where is the terrorists? Where is is somebody's farm now a terrorist?
Is the fear factor not a plus in your book? Do you think
he did not?
Do you think the terrorists, the bandits, are re-strategizing, considering their options?
In certain, you know, setting bandits or terrorists to fear is a different thing. But interpreting what President Trump says on his Twitter handle is what we are discussing tonight, and he has carried out a deadly airstrike on the terrorists, and he has killed this, he has killed that. This is a happy Christmas to Christians in Nigeria, and he's going to stop genocide that have been there for centuries. Where is it? Where is it?
But beyond the rhetorics, I mean, we do know how hyperbolic President Trump can be with his statements and exaggerating.
And it's not helping us as a country.
If you have to look beyond the noise of the commentary, beyond the noise of rhetoric, is there some sort of substance there to see Nigeria and the United States
work
collaboratively?
That I agree, and I'm never in denial. That I agree, because his utterances, which I consider as a threat, but to an extent it worked, because when he said he will be coming, we all know we have seen some kind of upgrade in our security operations, and everybody is on their toes, because first of all, it's a shameful thing that it is America that will come and fix our problem. And collaboration, anyhow you want to look at it, so long as it is that word called collaboration, if that is what America is referring to, they have not yet done it. Because we want to see the collaborative plan, not talking on the phone. The roll-out plan, a timeline plan between January 2026 to December 2026, before the next election cycle. We want to help Nigeria in cleaning up all the insecurity activities ranging from northeast to northwest to north central. Mind you, the president has already categorized, and that has been published, who and what should be referred to as terrorists in Nigeria. Individuals, even if you are sympathizing with the terrorists, you'll be referred to as a terrorist. That means today, if you are carrying arms in any form, terrorizing people, whether you are an Igbo man or Yoruba man, you are going to be a terrorist. If anybody is supplying you those arms, he can be called a terrorist. If somebody is financing him to help him get those arms, that person will be called a terrorist. So we have categories of these people that will be regarded as terrorists. Already the president has sent fear. This is a statement from our president. He has sent fear to the sponsors, because not until now, we have not seen any president that says, look, terrorist financiers are terrorists.
But why do you think Nigerians, in some way, shape or form, whether Christians or Muslims, agree that we need help and see this as a necessary evil? I mean, if we have to look beyond our ego of saying we're a sovereign country, we're a sovereign nation, we should be allowed to determine our own internal affairs, that saving lives is more important than this ego talk or sovereignty and nationhood. Why do you think the actions of the Americans is resonating with some groups in the country?
Is that same ego you are talking about? It is that same ego, because today you just saw, how do I refer to him? The district head of that community. He did not resonate with it. No. He told you this thing, first of all, impacted on him. He does not have security challenges, apart from scores that comes as a result of people who are being attacked in Zamfara axis, and because they are neighbors, sometimes they run away to enter Sokoto, but when things, calms down, they run away and go back to their, their original hiding places. Now, if you are talking about the ego, it is the ego of people, and this also brings us down to what we call unity in this country. Are we really united? Because even today, if you go, be it on the social media, more than 80% of the people you see appreciate what the US has done, even though it has no substance, are from the South.
Doesn't that then signpost the failure of our own government? Successive administrations have failed to address this single task.
I share this sentiment with you, and I'm sure every Nigerian will share this sentiment. And if you remember, I am an advocate of, let's first of all, federal government sit with the states at regional level. We have the Northeast region, we have the Northwest region, the North Central. First of all, if the North has predominantly been the part of the country that has been ravaged with this insecurity, let's sit with either the Northern Bloc or the sub-regions in the North. What can we do to solve this insecurity? Okay, just like what Amotekun did. Because it makes sense. We know our people. Let the federal government partners properly with the Northwestern region and create a regional security to first of all address this issue with them, because they know they are brothers. One way or the other, we have heard it from politicians, from businessmen, that we know them, they are our brothers. So if you know them, how much help do you want from the federal government before we begin to invite Canada and UK and US? We need it, but not to this extent that somebody will come and spray or fire a rocket on an empty farm.
I mean, the foreign minister said they shared the intel with them. Is it possible that the Nigerian government gave them bad intel, and that's why they are very? They are, at least to our knowledge. It
means the allegation by some people that says the worst country in terms of fighting terrorism is America. It means it's playing out, because even if Nigeria gives you information that is not accurate, you should have sophisticated equipment that you use to query this information and ascertain whether this information is sufficient or not. But for you to act on it and then just bomb somebody's farmland and claim you have carried, this is an insult. Honestly speaking, any Nigerian that takes this Twitter message, the tweet by Trump, serious, that person is an unserious person.
What are the chances that this is just the beginning of a new normal, where we're going to see more strikes to come in an effort to address this growing insecurity that we're dealing with?
First of all, Nigeria we need to have some high-level engagement. Our former head of states that have good ties with America, our former retired diplomats that have good relationship with America, because sometimes this is the only corridor to solve this kind of problem. We really need to bring these people back. The president should identify these people, even if they are outside Nigeria, bring them back. This thing, it has become a burden on my head. What has happened is carrying mixed feelings, but me as a president, personally, I wouldn't want this. What is the best way to address it? You can go and talk to, you have a good relationship with the American president. Today we have generals in this country that can make a call, just a call, and you'll be given a visa to go to America. It means we have people that America listening to. So the president should identify these people, sit with them, and let them profile a plan for him on how to address this. Because coming to a country and bomb somebody's farmland and lie to your countrymen that you have carried out an attack on terrorists.
We don't have the full story. So
we have where is your own story that is different from my own?
I'm saying that the information is still
you can't change. You cannot change me on this. It is a lie.
As I did say, we have reporting from the BBC who have spoken to their people on the ground in Tangaza, for instance. The one recorded in Jabo, the aftermath of the shocks in Ofa, for instance, in Kwara State, has shown some destruction, minor destruction to households.
We are not talking about Kwara. We are not talking about Kwara. Let's not shift from the
one in Tangaza, for instance, as we understand, has hit certain terrorist bases. So we do not have all the information at the moment. So I'm saying it will not be wise to jump to conclusion just yet.
I am not jumping into conclusion. Of course,
or the failure.
Of course, I'm registering my opinion with the present fact on your table and on my table.
Right.
Until the dynamics changes, and tomorrow I have another detail coming from our government saying, okay, look, Nigerians, when Obama killed Osama, he did not just say it on the phone or on the TV to Americans. Right. He first of all made it live for Americans to see that this was how they even killed Osama. And everybody went to sleep because he was somebody giving them nightmares.
So no transparency as far as you're concerned?
Absolutely.
Okay, if this is going to be the new arrangement going forward and the Americans are going to get involved in major operations, how would you want this to play out, very briefly, under a minute?
We should have a clear plan under the leadership of the Nigerian government, so that we know if by January or February there is going to be a collaborative plan to carry out attack on bandits in Zamfara State or terrorists in Sambisa Forest in Borno State, then Nigeria will lead, America will support, but not this This I don't even know how to call it.
Right. Engineer Nurudeeen Hammanyaro, thank you for the passionate analysis. Appreciate you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Favre, for having me.
Right. And that is a wrap on tonight's edition of the program. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We appreciate your time and company. Daily Politics returns next week live on Monday at 8 p.m. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed from myself and the rest of the team. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.